I'm so happy! Woo! All right, what's up, fight fans? All right, UFC 303. And I'm kind of glad that Connor pulled out in a way because that we actually got better fights out of this card. If you are, if you're a casual, yeah, you might not like this card, but now we get to see Alex Pereira versus Jiri too. And we have some new fights that were added that will be exciting. So starting off with Ricky Simon versus Vinicius Oliveira. Okay, so Vinicius Oliveira is a talented fighter. He has a dynamic striking and good knockout power. When he shows with his flying knee knockout against the jobber Bernardo Silva late in the third round. But I think it's too early for him to fight Ricky Simon here. I'm actually surprised with this matchmaking because I thought UFC would try to build him up further by giving easier opponents. Ricky Simon is known for his relentless wrestling and he is a good grappler. Okay, he has beaten good opponents and he actually beat Marab on his debut, which is very impressive. Knowing that he's going to fight Sean O'Malley soon for the title. So I'm definitely picking Ricky Simon here. I think he has the experience and the ground game, and I think he'll get the bounce back win here after his two straight losses. I think he's going to use his wrestling and he's going to neutralize the threats from Oliveira. So Ricky Simon is my pick here. Next fight, we have Ray Tsuruya versus Carlos Hernandez. Okay, I think this is kind of a tricky fight that could be closer than the odds suggest. Is Trade Tsuruya another one of those Japanese prospects that are making waves in the UFC, like Tatsuro Taira, as we can see in his performance against Alex Perez? Well, uh, he's making his debut and he just won the road to UFC. But if he's going to be like Taira or Rinya Nakamura, I think he has a lot of promise. This is tricky because he's making his debut here. But I'm going to pick Fred Surya over Carlos Hernandez here because I think he's one of those good grappler that's going to basically uh going to going to excel in the UFC. Now Carlos Hernandez, he's a he's an alright fighter. I would say he's mediocre, but this is an interesting test for Surya for his debut fight. And I think he'll pass with flying colors. So yes, I'm going to pick trade Surya for this fight, and I think he will get it done over the 3 rounds. Next, we have a heavyweight matchup with Andrei Arlovski versus Martin Buday. Okay, I think the UFC needs to just cut Andrei Arlovski at this point. Yeah, this guy has a long career of 10 years in the UFC, but this guy's 45 years old, all right? This guy's ancient even by heavyweight standards. Now, he was a good fighter once, but he's on like a 3 fight losing streak. And I get it. Martin Buday is one of those fat heavyweights that, you know, he's there because he's average, but he's won four out of his 5 UFC fights. And I think he should be good enough to beat the ancient Andrei Arlovski here. So I'm going to pick Martin Buday here. I think he will get it done in a very boring fight. Next, we have Michelle Waterson-Gomez versus Gillian Robertson. Sorry. Okay, how is Michelle Waterson-Gomez still in the UFC? I mean, she's lost 6 out of 7 fights, and she just give up her fighting career to be a content creator or something. In her last fight, her face basically was brutalized by Marina Rodriguez, and the referee kind of did her a disservice by allowing her to be a warrior. But I remember she was crying at the end of the fight. So, okay, who am I to complain? But I'm definitely picking Gillian Robertson here. I think she's more focused on her career currently. And I think she's just taking this fight more seriously than Michelle Waterson Gomez. All right, so the next fight we have Payton Talbott versus Yanis Ghemmouri. See, Payton Talbott is a very talented prospect, all right? He had an impressive win against Cameron Simon, and he is the biggest favorite on this card. So the UFC is trying to basically showcase him in the same card as Connor, but as Connor pulled out, he's basically I think he's going to win the squash match easily because he's fighting against Yanis Ghemmouri, who's not that good of a fighter. Okay, moving on. We have Charles Jourdain versus Jean Silva. Now, Charles Jourdain is a decent fighter. He has a well-rounded skill set, but he can be inconsistent sometimes, and he does kind of have pillow hands. There's still a lot of questions surrounding Jean Silva, as he was basically handed one of the worst fighters in Weston Wilson. Although now I guess Chikasragi has taken his place after he got submitted. So I think Charles Jourdain is my pick here, as he has a lot more experience at the UFC level, despite his inconsistency. Next, we have Cobb Swanson versus Andrei Fili. So Cobb Swanson is a veteran in this featherweight division, but the guy's 40 years old, okay? And you could argue that he should have lost his fight against Hakeem Dawodu. Now, Andre Fili, on the other hand, he's one of the most durable fighter, but his chin is kind of suspect. But I think Cobb Swanson is just too old at this point, and he's been through too many wars. So Andre Fili is my pick here, as I think he's younger and he should be good enough to beat old man Swanson. Next, we have Ian Machado Garry versus Michael Page. Now, I think this is the most fun fight of this card, and I can't wait to see the clash of the trolls. You know, Ian Machado is one of the rising stars who does back up his trolling skills with his striking skills, and he's very good at managing distance and using his reach advantage to basically outstrike his opponent. But I think he's meeting his match here against Michael Page, who is a flashy and unorthodox striker who is and really fast. He had an impressive win against Kevin Holland, and who beat him at his own game basically by taunting him and outstriking Holland. See, I think Ian Garry could win here if he actually relies on his grappling, but I don't know if he would. I just think Michael Page is the better striker, and he has the reach advantage here, which is crucial. So I'm going with Michael Page here. I think he would outstrike Garry, and if Garry wants to win, I think there's a path for him, but he would have to rely on his grappling. Next, Joe Pyfer against Marc-André Barriault. Okay, in this middleweight fight, Joe Pyfer, his hype train died after Jack Hermanson basically beat him in a 5 round fight. But you could argue that he could have won the fight if it was a 3 rounder. Now, Marc-André Barriault, he's a very tough fighter himself. He rarely gets knocked out. But the thing is that he doesn't have a lot of power himself. So in 3 rounds, I think Joe Pyfer can outstrike him, and he has small power to hurt him. So I'm going with Joe Pyfer here. Next, we have Mayra Bueno Silva versus Macy Chiasson. Okay, I think this is the trickiest fight to predict on this card actually. Uh, Bueno Silva, she's very good at jiu-jitsu and she has good submission skills, but I think Macy Chiasson, she has very good takedown defense, and this is very tough because both fighters are pretty good, and I think it depends if the Macy Chiasson can defend against a takedown and keep the fight on her feet, which I think she could. So, and Chiasson, when she got submitted by Raquel Pennington, it was on the feet basically with a guillotine choke. So I'm going to pick Macy Chiasson here. I think she will be able to basically stuff Silva's takedown and basically hurt her on the feet. Next, we have Anthony Smith versus Carlos Ulberg. So how many lives does Anthony Smith has? You know, He's looked washed in his recent fights, but he pulled the rabbit out of the hat by finding the guillotine submission against Vito Petrino. Now, Carlos Ulberg, okay, he's another terrifying prospect, as you can see with this quick first round knockout against Alonso Minifield. So I'll be very impressed if Anthony Smith can pull this out again, but I really doubt it. I think Carlos Ulberg is legit and is a very dangerous fighter. And I'm picking Carlos Ulberg by knockout here. All right, next fight we have Diego Lopes versus Brian Ortega. This is a very exciting co-main event that we have here because Diego Lopes is one of my favorite fighters. He has displayed a string of impressive performances and first round knockouts, either by submission or by knockouts. This guy is very dangerous on the feet and on the ground, and I think he has a physical advantage over Brian Ortega here. Now, Ortega is a smart veteran, and he has a very impressive wins against Yair Rodriguez, even despite 2 years laid off from injury. And he only lose to the elites in his division, like Max Holloway and Volkanovski. But I just think Diego Lopes is just too big and too strong, and he's too skilled. I think Lopes can keep the fight on the feet, and I think he'll beat Rodriguez up in the striking. So I'm picking Diego Lopes to win by knockout here. All right, finally we have the main event that we've been waiting for: Alex Pereira versus Jiri Prochazka. Look, this is the amazing rematch that we've been waiting for, and initially we thought that we would get this rematch maybe in August or in that card in Australia. But because Connor decided to pull out, we are getting this fight early. So the first fight was a lot closer than we think. Jiri did hurt Pereira with his strikes, but I think he kind of got overzealous and just went in, moved into his range, and Pereira just gave a left hook and basically, hurt him really badly. Although I think it was okay, I think it was an early stoppage, but Pereira was in mount. I think a few more strikes and the fight's done. So this is very interesting, right? I've always said, okay, Alex Pereira is definitely my favorite fighter, and I always said this guy is the one of the most unique strikers I've seen. Because if you look closely at his technique, this guy is striking with very little rotation. If you try to strike like Alex Pereira, your coach will be telling you that you're doing the wrong technique, right? But he's making it work. He's able to generate enough power despite the little rotation for his hips. And this is what makes him dangerous because his strikes, there's very little telegraph. And it's the strikes that you don't see that can knock you out. So, okay, we know that Ngannou is one of the hardest striker in the UFC, but I just think that Alex Pereira is more dangerous because the strikes are the ones that his opponents don't see it coming. Now, Jiri is a very dangerous striker himself, and he had a very impressive win against Rakic. Like, Rakic was hitting him and leg kicking him, but it doesn't make a difference for him. But I just think that Alex Pereira is stylistically a bad matchup for Jiri because Jiri likes to basically defend with his head, which is kind of crazy, right? He just takes leg kicks, but against Alex Pereira, that's not gonna fly because Pereira's power is just on another level. Now, okay, I do see some promising signs for him to actually win this fight. He did have success with the grappling. And actually, I think if Jiri comes with a grappling heavy game plan, I think he has a good chance of beating Pereira. But you see, I think he has to rein in his instincts, his fighting instincts, to actually beat Pereira. So the question is, can he do it? Can he actually fight in a way that's very unlike how Jiri fights? I don't know if I have faith in that, and I'm just gonna pick Alex Pereira again here. I know this is a very short notice fight for both fighters, and I just think Alex Pereira has an easier path to victory here. I think Yiri, if he doesn't change his fight style, is just gonna get not caught again by the left hook, or his legs gonna get chewed up by Alex Pereira's kicks, and he's not gonna be able to basically take those kicks for 5 rounds. So I'm betting on my man Alex Pereira again to basically retain his title, and I think he'll knock out Chidi yet again. So I'm really excited for this card, guys. I'm really excited. Okay, because my favorite fighter Alex Pereira is fighting in it, so I'm really excited for this. So I can't wait for this fight. All right, that's it, guys. Please click like and subscribe. Thank you, and enjoy the card. Thank you.